the social worker who wanted baby P taken into care. A BBC investigation finds she was overruled by her bosses. The police also wanted the child taken away. Instead, he was sent back to his mother and her violent boyfriend.
He's got a thing about hurting animals, one of which that I'd actually witnessed. It seems very, very important that it's exactly the same injuries to these animals as, you know, what's happened to this little baby.
And welcome to the BBC's News at 6. 9 months before baby P was found dead, a social worker had wanted the child taken into care. But Sylvia Henry was overruled by her bosses, who said the little boy would be better off with the mother who we now know caused his death along with 2 other men. This shocking revelation comes in a BBC Panorama investigation. The programme also has evidence that police in the London borough of Haringey had voiced their concerns about allowing the child back into an abusive home. And a warning, you may find some of the details in James Westhead's report distressing.
This little boy's short life and brutal death are raising ever more questions. Tonight there are new allegations and new details about what went on in this house in the months before baby P died at the hands of his carers.
He had some markings to his forehead, which at the time I described the shape of a cross. He also had some scabs to his ears and above the lips at the time. But regards bruising, it would be difficult to see because he was so blue.
It's now known that inside this house the toddler suffered months of violent abuse, mainly from his mother's boyfriend. A man with a vicious streak, according to this woman, who's known him for 14 years and can't be identified for legal reasons.
He's got a thing about hurting animals, one of which that I'd actually witnessed, to do with the frog. He was knocking them out with smelling salts, breaking the bones and, you know, bringing her back alive and finding it funny. It seems very, very important that it's exactly the same injuries to these animals as, you know, what's happened to this little baby.
But it's Haringey Council which is now facing some of the most difficult questions. Panorama has new evidence there was strong disagreement among professionals over how to protect baby P in his last 9 months. He was first referred to social services after being admitted to hospital with extensive injuries. He was then discharged to a family friend, even though Panorama has now learnt a social worker, Sylvia Henry, was very reluctant and had arranged foster care. But her concerns and those of police were overruled, and he was returned a short while later to the mother. When he's taken to hospital again with bruising to the head, police are not informed. And when the mother is arrested a second time in June, a senior officer has what's described as a frank exchange of views with social services, apparently disagreeing with the decision to send him home to his mother, where 2 months later he's found dead.
Here are concerns that are raised by members of the by individuals involved in the case, and those issues have been pushed aside in much the same way as issues that were raised with this case and with child protection.
Haringey Council rejects allegations that it overruled or ignored concerns. The government set up inquiries into its handling of the case.
The right thing for us to do is to look at what went on, the management failures, the problems of process, but also how that led to the wrong judgments it seems being made about the safety of this child. As I've said, I'm going to do this properly. I'll wait for the inspectors. I will then act on the basis of their first report, which will come to me on the 1st of December.
A wider review of child protection is also underway to check local authorities have implemented changes made after the case of Victoria Clambier, the last child death to raise such profound public anxiety. James Westhead, BBC News.
And our correspondent Daniel Bircher is at the council offices in Haringey. Daniel, we heard a little bit there about what Haringey Council is saying. What exactly have you got from them?
Well, we've had just a written statement from the council today with detailed responses to some of those claims made in the programme. For example, we heard there about the claim that a senior social worker was overruled by her boss when she raised concerns and wanted baby P to be put into foster care. The council's response on that quite clear. It says in this statement, this is not true. He did not overrule concerns of social workers. No concerns were raised regarding placement with the friend at the time of the placement. statement. Moving on then to the claim that in 2007 a senior police officer was also concerned and that there was this frank exchange. The council says that you'd expect rigorous discussions. It also says the outcome of the discussion referred to was that the police agreed with the way forward. In other words, eventually signed up to the plan. On the broader allegation that there were missed opportunities, that is a point the council concedes. It says more could have been done and has apologised for the fact that that did not happen. But all of this is adding to pressure on social services here at Haringey to explain exactly what did happen.
All right, Daniel, thank you. And that Panorama programme can be seen on BBC One tonight at 8:30.